work being slow. Okay, it says we're live. Let's see if we actually are live.
My phone is
live,
blowing up with all the notifications.
All right, we are live. Hello, everyone.
Yeah.
Hello.
Okay. I have to mute it, not press play. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Hi, Alina. I think you're the only one watching right now, other than us. Welcome to my third live stream. I think this is my third. And I have people with me today. For those who don't know, I am Sky. I write urban fantasy under the name SD Haggis. And today's video is going to be about our bi-monthly goals. We're going to be going over our May-June goals, if we had any, and coming up with our July-August goals, if we have any set, and talking about goals in general. So if one of you wants to start and go ahead and introduce yourself, I don't care about order, so feel free, take the mic.
I guess I could go if, unless Amy, you want to go first?
No, go ahead. I'm good.
My name is V.L. Jennings. I'm a science fiction author. I've written 2 books. Both of them were in the process of being republished because my publisher fell under. So one of them is out again, and the other one is still in editing. And honestly, that's part of my goals, but I won't get into that now because that's not time for that now. But yeah, that's pretty much me. Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Amy. My YouTube handle is nobody in particular, but I don't like post anything on my YouTube, so don't worry about that. I'm a freelance writer. I kind of do, you know, a little bit of whatever I can get paid for. And I'm currently going back to, I'm taking courses to get my SEO certification so that I can dabble in that too. And I don't have any published work. Almost all of my writing so far has been expository and ghostwriting, so I don't really have any published work to share. But I'm working on that. I am writing my first book right now. And I have completed, yeah, I have completed 6 episodes for a TV show that I will one day work up the courage enough to send out. So,
Aww.
that's all I've got so far.
Is that the one you sent me to my email, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, I started reading it the other day. I haven't finished it because I'm a horrible, horrible person.
It's okay.
I'm very bad with keeping up with things. That's terrible.
It's just one of those things, you know, where like it's done for me, but only like 2 other people have read it. So you guys are actually like the first, you're the second and third people who I'm not actually related to who have read that. So,
okay.
Oh, that's really cool.
So take your time. Take your time. I'm good.
I added it to my list though. Okay. So today's video is going to be about my bi-monthly goals that, like I said before. So do we want to start in the same order that we just introduced ourselves to talk about what we've accomplished if we had any goals set?
Sure.
Sure.
Is that how we want to do this? Okay, so for May, June, I had, I don't remember, I said earlier how many goals I had. I think I had 13. I don't know. I don't keep track of how many. I wanted to do 60,000 words on Mage's Sacrifice, which is the second novel to my Shifters and Mages series. I wanted to read 2 nonfiction books as well as 6 fiction books. I wanted to purchase the cover for both Puck's Choice and Mage's Sacrifice. I wanted to create my author newsletter. I wanted to set up a Patreon account. I wanted to outline the novels for my Damned and Dangerous trilogy. We'll get more into that later, I guess. And I wanted to outline, I love that there's a chicken crowing in the background.
Yeah, get used to that. I free range, and I'm in a camper outside, so I can't do anything about it. I closed the door though, so there's not going to be any more chickens walking right into my mic.
I wanted to outline Inferni. I wanted to create a cover chart. I was losing track of who I'd purchased covers from and whether I'd gotten the ebook as well as the paperback and all that fun jazz. So I needed to fix that problem. I wanted to purchase the cover to the first 2 Damned and Dangerous books. I wanted to create a release plan for my books going in the future because I need to do that. I successfully accomplished about half of these. I read.
Yay!
Yay! Win! I did not complete Mage's Sacrifice. I'm sitting at about 40K right now, and there's like 6 days left to the month. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to get to 60K in another 6 days, so it's not going to happen.
Aw.
That's okay, though. I got a good chunk done, a lot more than I thought I was, actually. Because of everything that happened in May, I got a lot more accomplished than I thought I was going to happen. I did get 2 nonfiction books read and the 6 fiction books read. In fact, I think I read 8 fiction books. I'm not positive about that. I cheated a little bit. I went back and reread a bunch of books I had read as a kid. They're like this thick. So they were really fast reads. I read like 3 in one day. Meh. Goals.
Hey, those are always the fun ones.
Yeah. I did get the covers purchased for both Puck's Choice and Mage's Sacrifice. In fact, Amy, I believe you've seen both of those. I think I did send them to you guys.
I think I have, yeah.
Virginia, I have not showed you. Remind me that. I need to show you. They're awesome.
You've got your covers already? I want to see.
I've got my covers. I did not create the author newsletter. However, when I do create the author newsletter, that is when I will do an official cover reveal for both Puck's Choice and Mage's Sacrifice. So there's that coming up eventually, someday.
That's a lot.
I tried to get into those.
I got outlines done for Damned and Dangerous 1 and 2 and Inferni. I have not completed the Damned and Dangerous 3 outline. I got my cover chart created because I needed to get that done. That literally was added onto my list the other day, and I had to get it done because my cover artist was like, I don't know which ones you've purchased ebooks and which ones you've purchased both ebook and paperback. And I was like, I don't know either. So I went through all my receipts, and I was like, yes, 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 no, yes, yes. And I finished my chart that day.
I'm all about keeping some receipts. I think that is one very underrated grown-up skill is keeping your receipts. Because it comes in so much handy. It's such a good record. And I mean, like, even my dad is still trying to pick up because I take really good care of my receipts. But
I don't, except for the fact that this is all business related stuff, so I definitely need to keep these for tax purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's that. And I am getting better because I am keeping, if it's something important for like an electronic I buy, I keep those receipts as well. And actually I take pictures of those, and I have an app on my phone that I post those receipt images to because it'll keep track of them throughout the years.
Yeah. So I got one of those, it's that they kept showing the infomercial for it, and then I found one on at the thrift store. It looks like a hole puncher, but you feed your receipts into it, and it automatically scans it and uploads it to your computer. I did that one, and I scanned some stuff just because, like, I'm that person who wants a receipt for my gas, even when I go in and prepay, and they want to just, do next person, and I'm like, yeah, no, can I have a receipt, please? Somebody copped an attitude with me one time about it, like, a receipt? And I'm like, yes, a receipt, please. So I'm that person.
Hey, you're keeping it for business. Why not?
I know, right? Especially like, we've got the chickens and we do a little bit of hobby farming. And as far as, like what you can write off on taxes, gas mileage, yes, you can under certain circumstances. So I don't do it just yet because I haven't had the need to, but I'm all prepped and ready. I'm ready to be a grown up. I got this.
I'm a big kid now.
Yeah. I was just joking with Sky about that the other day, actually. I just turned 30, like last weekend, Father's Day, I turned 30. I was born on Father's Day and I turned 30 on Father's Day. Every couple of years, it's on Father's Day again. And I was joking around and telling everybody. Yeah, thank you. I've been joking around and telling everybody that I reached level 30 Like instead of saying I'm 30 years old now, I say I reached level 30. Like,
There you go.
Hey, I'm level 31.
Yay! I'm level 28. I'm really young. I'm a puppy still.
just wait, Sky. The day is coming.
The day is coming.
The day is coming.
The last 2 goals I accomplished were that I purchased the covers for Damned and Dangerous 1 and 2. But that's all I've got for May and June. I accomplished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of my goals.
That's good.
I failed 5 of them. So I call that a win. I call that a win.
I would for sure.
That's like quite a lengthy list, Sky. I think you're going to dwarf mine.
I know, right?
Yeah.
She's constantly recapping all the stuff that she's doing, and I'm like, I sat down and wrote an article for 45 minutes today. Like, that's what I did.
Sorry.
I'm
No,
sitting
I
here
love
going,
it.
I might need to come up with something.
And Virginia, it's hilarious. So I have a group chat with Amy and one other young lady, and I'm like constantly posting like covers. I'm like, oh, look at this, look at this. I have an addiction apparently. We have discovered that I have a problem. When it comes to pre-made covers, I'm constantly sharing photos, and I'm like, how would this work for this story idea? Would this work for this story idea? And I'm waiting for the day that they're both like, Sky, you have a problem. You need to stop. I know it's coming. One of these days it's gonna happen.
I don't think it's coming. I personally really like it. I think Rebecca likes it too, because that's a part of the process that I'm completely unfamiliar with. You know, as a freelance writer, and most of my work was done as a ghostwriter. So, you know, like I spend, a month or 2 working on this project, and then I get a paycheck, and that's the end of my involvement. So I see covers. There was like 2 projects that I did that did eventually go to press, and they had covers for them, and I hated them. And I was like, that is the worst cover. So, I love looking at all this cover art with you, because I'm like, ooh, no, that one's better. That one's definitely better.
Yeah, it kind of hones your skills.
Yes, yeah. Exactly. I had no experience with it until now. And now Sky is such a wealth of knowledge. She's always talking about, well, you got to get your cover art at this point in the process because you need to be able to present it at this point in the process later on and all that. And I'm like, shh, slow down. You got to write this down. I haven't done that part yet. I don't know what that is. Slow down. I've never told Sky this before, so it's embarrassing to admit, to the annals of YouTube. But she's constantly talking about stuff where I go back and I Google it, like the next day or like the next time that I sit down. She's talking about independent presses and rapid release. She did a video about that recently. And for some reason, I've always called it rush publishing, because on my end, as not publishing, I just do the writing. The little experience that I had was always rushed, like we're trying to meet this deadline. And I'm like, well, you could have told me that 3 weeks ago when I could have actually met that deadline. But I'm constantly Googling stuff. Like I call it rush publishing, and Sky kept calling it rapid release. And I'm like, she's trying to guide me into using the polite PC version. Like, no, you are not rush publishing, Amy. You are rapid release. And I'm like, yeah, no, but it's no, it's rapid release.
This is the way I feel about it. With rush, if I call it rush publishing, it would feel like I'm not putting any thought behind it. And as you can tell, like I'm not even planning to. I'm planning on doing the Shifters and Mages series rapid release.
Yes.
And like I started planning that idea 6 months ago, and I'm not even planning like. Right now, in my mind, I've got it set to come out in September. However, that's not going to happen, by the way. I can already say that. I'm that far behind in stuff I wanted to do. So I don't have a clear release date yet. But, like, that's almost that's at least 6 months worth of planning already. So it's not rushed. I'm putting thought into it. It just, once it starts coming out, it'll be boom, 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 drop, drop, drop.
Wow.
So,
yes.
That's heavy. I don't know that I could do that.
Yeah, no, I did not admire. I mean, you've got so much on your plate. And like I said, some days
I'm lucky if I can get one out a year.
Yeah.
This is me when it starts happening. I'm gonna die.
I love all those little GIFs. I love GIFs, and I love all the ones where there's like little stick people and they're like banging frantically on the keyboard, and like there's that one where they it's kind of a little bit graphic, like he's banging on the keyboard and then his hands turn into bloody nubs and then his arms turn into bloody nubs and then he's just banging his head on the keyboard.
The ones where they're just doing like this.
Yes.
When I start publishing, that's gonna be me. Just so you know.
I've never had to deal with the publishing. Everything I've ever done has always been way before the actual publishing. You know, like I do some editing and stuff like that. Stuff that I set my pace, and I have a deadline, and it's all good. I meet the deadline. So you've got so many different layers of what you're doing. It's a sight to behold. It really is. The fact that you're progressing so consistently. I mean, I know it seems like you think you're so far behind, but as a third party who's not involved at all, I can say that you're progressing pretty well, much better than I have on my own personal goals. So high five to you.
Yeah. High five.
You can't see me, but I high five.
Nice. Well, you're nobody, so we have to make sure you remain anonymous. So
yes. My name isn't Amy. We have not said Amy 19 times already this feed. It's
no, we haven't. We've been saying nobody the entire time.
You were imagining it, YouTube. Just let it go. Let it go.
That's your name, Amy Nobody.
I know, right?
We call you by your last name.
Excuse me.
So what about you guys? Virginia, did you have any goals for May, June?
My goals for May, June had nothing to do with writing other than the fact that I wanted to start doing something in writing. I graduated with my associate's degree in electrical engineering technology, actually May 10th.
Woo, congratulations.
Yeah. I was like, yay, get it off my shoulders.
You've only been going to school for a while.
About 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years. So, I mean, all of my stuff has kind of been slightly put on hold since then because I was more, I had other things on my plate, homework to do. I did blogging in the meantime, but, nothing really serious. Actually, no, I did get my first book edited and published right around the time I started classes. But yeah, after I started getting full swing into classes, it kind of fell by the wayside. So all of May, I pretty much spent all of my time crafting my resume, trying to post to job boards, going off to interviews. I've been to so many interviews, it's driving me crazy. And they all ask the same questions. I'm kind of like, wait, who's Virginia? Which Virginia are you talking about? The author or the person that's coming to work?
Yeah.
So yeah, May was pretty hectic with that. I'm still doing interviews now. I just interviewed for my dream job this past Friday, so I've got my fingers crossed I get that one. And so now I'm really kind of feeling.
We're gonna be saying that a lot, aren't we? You can't see me, but
I crossed my fingers. Sending good juju your way.
I'm kind of feeling a little bit more free to, get some of these goals down on paper. With me starting a new job, I don't know when exactly I'll start a new job. My dream job has us starting, I believe, the end of July. So, hey, I got a little bit of wiggle room to work to, get some of this stuff done. And a lot of my goals are kind of vague because if I don't reach a goal, I start to beat up on myself about it. So I kind of like to give myself some room while also giving myself that you kind of got to get this done sometimes.
a little bit of guidance.
I'm kind of keeping my writing as more of a hobby right now.
Okay.
So I have that fluidity to be able to go, well, I didn't get it done this month, so, we'll just keep trucking.
There's always next month.
Yeah. Right now I'm working on editing my second book, which is Visionary from the Stars. My goals for that are more sit down at least every other day, hopefully every day, to kind of spend an hour or two, maybe more, but like I said, I kind of leave myself some fluid wiggle room. But I do want to get to where I'm sitting down at least every day to get some of this edited, get through some of the comments that my beta readers have made and that sort of thing. If I had an overall goal for that, I'd like to have Visionary, finished by the end of 2 months so that I can start, getting the cover design. I make my own covers. So I'd like to start. I kind of give myself a whole month for that. But yeah, and then there comes the formatting and all that kind of stuff. So I'd like to have the editing done in 2 months. I don't know if it'll happen in 2 months, but that's kind of, we'll just see what happens. That's actually my the Camp NaNoWriMo goal, is to get the editing done by the end of July. That might be rough, but I'm gonna try. In the meantime, I'm also writing a sequel to my first book, which was The Alien Mind. I don't have a title for the sequel yet, so there's my goal for this month. I need to find a title for the sequel.
There you go.
And then with writing that one, I don't really have a specific goal for how much I want to get written. I'm just kind of plugging along with that when I don't have my computer in front of me, when I'm at doctor's appointments, or the biggest thing was waiting for job interviews. When I'm sitting there in the office and they're going, "We'll see you in a few minutes." And I'm like, I can write.
Yeah.
So they come in and I'm just busy working away and they're looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
Something.
Working. But other than that, I kind of would like to have a cover design in mind for Visionary round about the time I finish editing it. But I don't know if that'll happen either. It just kind of, my muse dictates my pattern. So
You're winging it.
Other than that, I don't really have any concrete goals.
What about you, Amy? Do you have some goals that you wanted to accomplish in May and June?
I had a couple. I haven't really been focusing on my fiction writing very much because I've been doing mostly a lot of research for, life type stuff. And that takes up a lot of my time. But I did have two main goals and I did okay. I wanted to get back into my bullet journal because mine's just kind of tentative. Like I write down something whenever I know I need to write it down. I don't just write it down for the sake of being in the habit of recording everything. Like I'm very inconsistent and spotty with my journaling. Like my finance section is, on point. I've got my receipts. I've got my little, chart of all the money that goes out, the money that comes in, that kind of thing. But as far as like my daily duties section, like that's like, no. So,
it's a bullet journal.
Yeah. I tried to get back into that and I did okay. I remember I told you once, Sky, that I finally figured out like my ideal spread and I printed out a template and I've been working on the template, like perfecting it and all that stuff. And I got my template that I really like. It's just 2 sheets of paper for the whole week. It's got my daily duties list on the back, and that's basically exactly what it sounds like. Like, I have a housework section, and I like to do my housework where it's like 1 room per day, like Monday is always a kitchen day to recap from the havoc of the weekend, and Tuesdays is the bathrooms and the bedrooms and stuff like that. I like to do the 1 day a week, 1 room, 1 day thing. And if you just keep up with general maintenance in the meantime, it works for me. 1 load of laundry, gardening, because I've got a whole bunch of plants.
Yeah, there's a reason why you only see my face.
Yeah.
As Sky looks around the kitchen at everything that needs to be done, like that mess. And
that is my least favorite part of being a grown-up is housework. Like, I miss the days when I just didn't have to do it. I mean, I've been doing it since I was a teenager. Huh?
Do you have kids?
No, but I do live at home with my parents and my sister. So
there you go. So everybody's making a mess anyway.
Yes.
I was about to say, as soon as I claim mine, my 3 kids have it destroyed.
My family, like, the thing that they do that drives me insane is it's like, I call them cluster messes, where it's like, okay, I needed to make a display thing, like, just a cute little display piece of paper to put at the front of this folder for the submission or whatever. So they'll cut up the display, cut out the letters, they'll do all this stuff, and then they just leave it because they can push it all into like a little corner and they'll leave it on the table. And I'm like, all you had to do is throw away those scraps of paper and put the scissors back in the bucket. Like, that was literally the only thing you had to do. Right? And they do that with everything. Like, they never finish cleaning it up. I mean, they'll get to the point where, like, all they did was forget to put the scissors in the bucket. Okay, they cleaned up the paper this time, but the scissors are still on the table. And I'm like, I know you can see the scissors. Why did you not put the scissors back in the bucket? And then they just, it's a bunch of adults, so it's not, nobody's like in charge of everybody, but I'm the person who cares to get the housework done, Like, I love a vacuumed floor. I hate vacuuming, but I love a nicely vacuumed floor. So I'm constantly like, okay, well, we got to move this, move that, fix this, fix that, so that I can vacuum, and then you can move it all back. And so, yeah, the bullet journal is how I'm trying to.
My goals.
Oh, yeah?
What's a vacuum?
I can't stand the word.
We won't talk about how long it's been since this house has actually been really, really, really seriously cleaned. Seriously cleaned. Let's just not. Let's just not.
That's understandable when you have kids, though. It drives me insane because we're all grown-ups here. Like, my sister is only 4 years younger than me. Like, we're all grown-ass adults. And I'm the one getting the case of the ass about the scissors not being put back in the tube. Like, put them away. It drives me crazy. So, back to the bullet journal. I'm hoping that if I recommit to keeping up with my bullet journal, all of the different areas, like the daily duties, that I can free up my time, because my other main goal that I did manage to accomplish during May, June was I completed my courses. I completed 2 courses for my SEO certification, and I want to keep that up. I actually finished them like a week ahead of time on both courses, and I'd like to keep that pattern up. And thank you. And I'd like to keep that pattern up, and that's basically the only writing related thing that I actually managed to accomplish in May and June, because Sky knows what I'm talking about, but I had like a major life change happen in February, and I'm still recuperating from that. And so May and June were kind of like me trying to get back on schedule. The only thing I actually managed to recommit myself to was the schoolwork. So I'm proud of that. That's a goal that I managed to meet and exceed. Not only did I finish my courses, I actually finished them ahead of time with 100%. Yes, thank you. And I did so good on one of them that I was invited to come back for the next session as a mentor for the course, because they were so impressed. And I was like, thank you. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you. So I did really good with that. But literally every other every other writing related goal I completely failed at. Like, I have not even looked at my outline for my book. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I did okay with the bullet journal, because I consider that bullet journal to be like a never-ending writing project. Like if you actually commit to using that thing, that takes up time every day. It's extremely useful, but it is its own writing project because you keep lists and, you know, personal notifications and all that kind of stuff. So
I haven't used mine since March, so
yeah, I still dabble with that that year planning notebook thing that you printed out for me that you gave me. I still use that sometimes. So
your best year in 2018?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm trying to yeah, that's the extent of my goals. I'm not working right now, so I didn't even have anything like, you know, freelance writing related. I'm just focusing on getting my SEO certification so that I can get back out there and remarket myself that way.
Okay. All right. And Virginia, you already talked about your goals for the future, so I guess I'll talk about mine real quick. So for July, August, again, I have a long list because that's what I do. I make extremely long. This one's shorter than the first one by a little bit. I want to finish writing Mage's Sacrifice. I'm a little over halfway done now because I'm if it's the same length as Puck's Choice and not longer, like I think it's going to be, it'll be about 70,000 words in the end. So I'm halfway there now, a little over halfway there. So I want to finish that up in July and then start editing it, self-editing it in August so I can send it to my editor by the end of August. Again, I want to read 2 nonfiction books. I have a goal to read 12 nonfiction books this year. And so far, that means I've been reading 1 a month. So if I read 2 for July, August, that'll cover both those. I want to read 6 fiction books as well, which if I continue reading that series of little short kitty books, I will complete that goal. I want to get the 3rd cover for Damned and Dangerous. I'm already in talks with my cover artist about that, so that's going to happen already, I can tell you that. Then my other goal is to edit Mage's Sacrifice and Hunter's Betrayal, which is a prequel novella to the whole Shifters and Mages series. And I want to get Puck's Choice formatted so I can start getting that process of getting proof copies to double check everything before it's ready for publication, because I'm trying to get that done this year. Then I want to start writing a standalone urban fantasy called Tangled Fate. I have to read through Amy's screenplay because I just added that to my list.
Thank you.
And I need to update my finances chart with both. With my finances chart, I do, especially like where my author stuff is concerned, not just personal finances, but I add my author stuff to my finance chart, and I do estimated amounts as well as actual amounts. So I need to update it with some of the newer estimated billing information, basically.
Yeah, explain your budget versus your actual expense.
Yes, thank you. That was exactly what I was trying to say. And then the things and then the things I didn't accomplish in May, June, like I still want to get my author newsletter up and running. I need to actually sit down and do that. I haven't done that. And I need to actually create a release plan. However, I found out some information that is starting to affect what I have a release plan kind of sort of in mind already, but there is some information that I just recently found out that is starting to affect the release plan I already had planned. So I gotta work around all that fun jazz.
What happened?
So I'm wanting to create a publishing company before I actually start publishing my stuff, so that I have a business tax EIN to basically protect me from all the anything that happens tax related wise and copyright wise. But I'm moving to Montana next year, and you have to use the tax information from whatever. Yeah. You have to use the tax information for whatever state you're in. And so I need to actually schedule a meeting with a lawyer to talk about whether or not, since I know I'm moving and I know where I'm moving to, I need to find out if it would be better to set up my tax information, the publishing company in Montana or in North Carolina, because some of the fees are based on whatever state you do it in. And Montana's is cheaper. The fees for Montana, setting up a publishing company in Montana is cheaper. But I don't know if I'll be able to do that because I don't live in Montana right now. So I need to schedule a meeting. That'll probably actually happen after my trip in, the other August goal. Justin and I are going up for a week in the first full week of August. We're going back up to Montana to check out the property again so he can see it and so that we can see what progress has been made since I was last up there in May. So there's that.
My author table buddy is moving.
I'm sorry.
I was a little conflicted when Sky told me that because Sky and I have actually known each other since high school. And we were on the writing club together at high school. And she was like, were you 1 or 2 grades behind me? 2, right?
1, because you graduated 07, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was 1 grade behind you.
1, okay. And but besides a little bit of contact on Facebook, it wasn't until I started like pursuing my writing thing a little bit more and I had more to talk about with Sky that we kind of reconnected. And just in this last year or 2, we've hung out a couple of times. And Sky said she was moving to Montana. I was like, damn it, I just started making a new friend, remaking an old friend, hanging out with her, and now she's moving away. I'm sorry. I'm conflicted, Sky. I am conflicted.
I love you.
I'm so happy for you, but I can't drive to Montana to go to the libraries on Saturdays.
That's a really long trip, just so you know.
Yes, it is.
I think we scheduled it like 36 hours. I feel like it's longer than that. It's 3 days driving. It's 3 days driving. And so when we go in August, when we went in May, we drove there and back. And when we go in August, we'll be driving there and back because I can't stand airplanes. I don't do airplanes. My ears don't pop. So I'm sitting there in fetal position crying like a huge ass baby because I can't do it. Wow. I am so much in pain that I just nope. The plane can burn and crash and I will never notice because I'm already dead. So we're gonna be driving. It's gonna be 3 days of driving. It'll be less if we like say one of us drives and one of us sleeps. So we can cut it down a lot if that happens, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll still rent a hotel at night and all that fun jazz. So it's going to take a full 3 days to get there. Yay!
Taking the bus actually isn't that bad. I know a lot of people hate it, but I've taken it 3 or 4 times, and it wasn't that bad.
The bus actually had us getting there. Maybe it was the bus route that had us getting there in 36 hours, because that was much shorter, but it doesn't stop as often, so maybe that was why it was quicker.
Yeah,
I did look at that just to compare it. I don't think either one of us thought about. Actually, excuse me, sorry. I don't think either one of us actually thought about doing that, but I did look up how much longer it would take via bus versus car.
Yeah, I like the bus option because it's continuous travel. You don't have the extra expense of the hotels at night because you can rest on the bus. And I did the gas once, and it was slightly more expensive than if I drove to Missouri. It was slightly more expensive. But if I accounted for the hotels, it was cheaper. You know, even if you get a hotel for $50 that night, it was still a little bit cheaper to take the bus. So,
yeah.
It's definitely worth looking into, I think.
My biggest thing is that once we get up there, we'll still need like transportation around town, and then you have to end in the cost of renting a vehicle if you take a bus up there. So,
yep, definitely true.
Both options work. It's just which one will you? Go with.
Which set of hassles do you actually feel like dealing with?
Yeah. So.
My husband's ears don't pop on airplanes either, Sky. We ended up getting him, they're called airplanes, but they're earplugs that I found at CVS for people whose ears don't pop. And something about plugging the ears with these earplugs equalizes the pressure
Huh.
But I mean, he's not in as much pain as you are either, so I don't know if it would be worth taking that risk or not.
I'm not going for it. Not now.
There you go.
Maybe in the
I
future.
mean, it might be worth the try if somebody is like, hey, we got to go to Korea, so you have to fly. Tough luck. But
like, so Justin and I both want to go traveling overseas, and there's no way we're going to take a ship across. So eventually I will have to take airplanes. So maybe I'll try it then.
there
Maybe.
you go.
All right. Okay, so
We're still gonna have to start doing hangouts for author tables, though, because I'm gonna be bored out of my mind if you're not gonna be with me.
that's fine. I mean, now I just thought about it like right before we went live. We don't even have to go live. We can talk like this without being live on YouTube and just be like, "This is what we've done today."
Yeah, I'm in.
We just do a lot more Google Hangouts when we're not live. We're just chatting with each other. I'm all for
There you
it.
go.
Yeah. I do have a few things on my list for my July, August goals.
Go for it.
My July
I
goal.
messed everything up because I just went right into them. I didn't realize what I was doing.
You're totally fine. Is there anything you want to add?
Not really.
Okay. Okay. My basic goal for July and August is to kind of recap and reassess and reapply myself to my goals. Like I want to reassess all of my writing projects and see what point they're in, because I actually have like 4. I have the TV series, which is completed, but I have like 4 that I've messed with on and off. And I want to kind of refamiliarize myself with them, you know, like go through and treat them all like they're my number one, so that I can figure out what do I need to do next in this process. And a couple, probably 2 of them, I'm just going to reassess for my own benefit, but not actually worry about following through with anything just yet. And my main one is that I really want to do Camp Nano. Because I did the April one and failed miserably. So I want to do the July one. Sky's already added me to her cabin.
Yeah.
And I'm going to redo an outline for my my book, which does not have a title, but it has a lot to do. Luck is one of the main themes, so I've just been calling it 777. And I need to redo my outline for 777. I kind of had an epiphany, and I sent Sky like a 2,000 word message in our little group chat when I was like, oh my God, I figured it out. I figured out that my villain was very... Yes, right? And I love sharing them too. Like, I don't usually, you know, hashtag humble brag, but every so often I'm like, shh, let me tell you what I just did. Be quiet. Let me say this. Let me finish. And that was one of them. But I realized that my villain was boring, and I have my main 2 characters. I'm kind of gambling with this story idea because I don't know if I am at all competent enough to actually do this. But my 2 main characters are not actually driving my main conflict. They're bystanders and kind of a byproduct of the main conflict. And but they are the ones that like everything revolves around, even though they're not the ones stirring the pot. So that's why I chose them, because without them I wouldn't have this big problem, but they didn't actually make the problem. So I'm like, that's complicated. Yeah, thank you. Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm quite, because like I said, you know, most of my writing has been expository. So fiction is new to me. You know, purple prose is something I had to Google 3 times before I understood what it meant. And so I realized that my villains were boring. And then I realized that I'm like, well, in my mind, I have this idea that there's these 2, my 2 main characters, not them, but there's these 2 other parties who are creating this conflict. They're the ones who are kind of fighting with each other, and everybody else is sort of suffering for it. And then I realized, and I was like, well, if I don't, I can tell you who's the good guy and who's the bad guy in that conflict right off the bat. But one day it just hit me, what if I don't? What if I don't tell my audience which one is the good guy and which one is the bad guy? And I was like, oh my God, that's it. Because if I don't tell you who's the good guy and who's the bad guy, you don't know. My villain doesn't seem boring because
you don't know who's the villain.
Right. I wanted my villain to be very, very steady. I wanted my villain all of a sudden when you realize that, this mofo is cray-cray, it's like blows your mind, right? So that's what I really wanted my villain to be. And I realized that he just read so boring along the way because you don't know that he's actually crazy. You just know he's the bad guy, but you don't know why. So when I realized that I could just not tell you which one is the villain and which one is the good guy, my brain exploded. And I was like, that's it. Yes. Your writer knowledge all over everything. So that's going to be my goal for my outline. My nano goal is to redo my outline, and I need to, change up a couple of scenes where, they talk about one of the two people that you don't know if it's the good guy or the bad guy. What is that word? Your main characters?
Antagonist and protagonist?
I guess, but wouldn't that be more like, aren't those words that apply more to your main character? Like, these are secondary characters, technically, as far as the book is.
I don't know.
I can't think of it either. I don't know if there is a word. Maybe I'm creating this scenario. But,
maybe you have secondary antagonists, secondary protagonists.
There we go.
Yeah. That sounds good enough to me. I know what I'm talking about. So as long as nobody else reads my notes, we're good. But, yeah. So my main goal. Yeah. I'm definitely one of those people. Like, don't touch it. Like, don't even hover near my writing notebook because it's crap. I don't want you to know that my writing is that bad. And then when you get my final draft, it's that pretty. No, trust me, it started out ugly.
It started off ugly.
Oh, yeah, it did. Just stay away from the notebook. But that's my goal for the next couple of days, is to prep myself for July. I'm going to take Nano very seriously and make sure that my outline is completely done within that month. And then I'm also going to be I have another course to do for my SEO. So I'm going to have that to happen at the same time, and try to get my bullet journal and all that. I'm thinking what I'm probably going to end up doing is all of my other goals, like research and the bullet journal and that kind of thing, are probably going to be pushed off more towards August, unless I actually manage to get my act together and apply myself for the Camp Nano section. So, I want to look at my other writing projects. Like I said, that's probably going to be put off until August also. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. I just want to reassess my other writing projects, get back into my bullet journal, and keep up my ahead of schedule pace with my SEO classes.
Okay.
So.
Sorry about the yawning, Amy. I wasn't yawning at you. I'm just still trying to wake up.
What time zone are you in? What time is it for you?
I'm on the same time zone as Sky is, so it's about 10:56 here. But I haven't had a chance to eat breakfast yet because I jumped out of bed, took a shower, blow dried my hair, and set all this stuff up. So my brain is still like
in the same time zone.
Oh yeah. I wish I could do that. My day starts at 5 because yeah, my weekdays start at 5. I can't sleep in past like 6:30 though. My biological clock is so programmed for 5 that at 6:30 I'm like, I have to pee. I can't wait any longer. I have to get up to go pee at 6:30, and then I'm up, so I'm awake. So I've been up since like 6:15.
So I'm lucky like that.
Oh yeah, I wish.
I don't think I even went to sleep until like 4. So getting up at 5 just wasn't happening.
I got up at 6. I got up at like 6:30, and I was so excited for this live stream because it's the first time I've ever done this that like I got up and immediately cooked breakfast so that it was all done, and like I showered and got my notes and restarted my laptop, and I was here when Sky created the live stream group chat. I was already like, I'm outside in the camper right now so that all the like house background noise isn't in the back of the live stream and all that. And so I'm outside at like, I was like outside completely set up at like 9:07, I think it was, when I was like, well, now what do I do? I just got to wait for Sky to send me some kind of link. I was all excited. I got all ready. And so that's why as soon as she sent that group conversation, I was like, good morning. Finally, I'm not alone out here. You're finally awake. Yay!
And I was just waking up at 9. I was like, let me start the computer, take a shower, and all that fun jazz, get everything up and running. And I was still running behind. I got out of the shower. I was like, ah, shiitake mushrooms.
I'm that nerd who's ready an hour ahead of time, though. So next time.
Usually I am too, but usually I don't go to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning either. So.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened to me last night.
And technically, I was in bed by 2, which especially like during the week is normal for me because I don't get home until almost 1 anyways, and then I cook myself some dinner before I go to bed. But on the weekends, I try to go to bed a lot earlier. But even though I laid down at 2 a.m. last night, I did not fall asleep until closer to 4.
Yeah, your brain's like, no, I'm gonna keep you up.
Yep.
Yeah,
let me just do a bunch of math equations in the night. That's literally what my brain was doing. It was not actually doing math equations, but that's what it felt like.
No, I start getting tired at 7. I'm usually in bed at around 8, and I can't stay up past like 9:15 without turning into a whiny crybaby about how sleepy I am.
I'm so tired.
Yes, I do that. I hate it because generally speaking, I'm not a whiny person. Like I do complain, but I'm not whiny until I'm tired. And then I'm like, it's 9 o'clock. Why are you still doing this? Like I start getting pissy at like 9 o'clock where I'm like, shut up and let me go to bed.
Why are you still awake?
Yes. And I'm one of those people that once I'm in bed, my day is done. Like I do not get out of bed once I lay down. I'm like, I told you good night. You had fair warning before I lay down. I don't care what it is. You're on your own.
The house better be on fire.
Right? Yes.
I'm not moving from this bed.
Yeah.
See, I actually do a lot of writing in my bed. I don't like physically write, which is probably why my goals are all over the place. I have trouble getting to sleep. Ever since I was a teenager, I actually have trouble falling asleep. So I spend that time in between laying down. You know, I'm tired. I want to go to sleep, but I can't. And actually falling asleep writing. So I'll go through my storyline. You know, I'll start at whatever section I ended off on, and I'll work through the dialogue and work through what's going on, and I'll just keep the story going until I fall asleep. So the problem is that because I have all this done in bits and pieces, when it comes down to writing, I'm sitting there in front of a blank piece of paper going, words. What are words?
What are words?
I hate that feeling.
So I've gotten to where I'm trying to get, you know, I really love hearing you guys talk about, you know, outlining your projects and that sort of thing, because I've started to get where I want to try to make some of those outlines. But I mean, I was taught how to outline when I was in high school, but you know, the whole Roman numerals, here's your main title for the chapter. And then, you know, big A, little a, you know, and then on down. Yeah. I can't outline like that. So I've gotten to where I just make bullet points of what I want to happen in the book. and organize the bullet points that way. But as far as what happens per chapter, I have no idea. It's just how it ends up writing.
So each project is different for me with outlining. So Mage's Sacrifice is literally just a bullet point list. That is what Mage's Sacrifice is. This is my outline for Mage's Sacrifice. And then I ended up, so Amy was asking how I outline. I think it was about a month ago. She was asking how I outline, and I sent her a different outline for one of my newer projects, and for Inferni actually, which I plan on writing at some point in July or August. And it's basically chapter 1, a brief paragraph summary of what's going to happen in chapter 1. Chapter 2, brief paragraph summary. Chapter 3, and that's how most of my newer outlines are done. Is basically short paragraphs with a description of what's going to happen in the chapter.
I'm impressed you can break it down by chapter. I mean, this is what I'm working with here. You know, it's just a bullet point list with sometimes I'll do a cluster over here with some arrows that, you know, this needs to go fit in there. I forgot about that piece. But when it comes down to the chapter, like, I really don't know.
Yeah, see, that's the better part too, is that just because I outline it that way, when I start writing doesn't mean it's going to stay that way. Like the bullet point list I have for Mage's Sacrifice has changed a lot in the actual writing because I've added stuff in and taken stuff out.
Yeah. The bullet journal.
I think I have at least 3 of these around here that are all off the same story, and they all change all the time.
My thing about outlining is I do the bullet thing too. I do not do the, you know, big A, Roman numeral, little a, all that. That's way too involved for me. When I do my outlines, I actually do like, my outline is at the point that I am now is almost like a rough draft. Like I just start and then I just keep going, and I have to, nothing is really in order the first time going through. I'm on like my 9th draft of my outline because they're basically like rough drafts for me. I just start writing. I make my bullets, you know, everything that I think of that it needs to be. And I go basically brain dump. And then I give it a day or two. And then I come back and then I organize what I already have and add more bullets if I need to at the other end. And that's my secret. I don't think it's a secret really, but that's my method to outlining. My outlining is basically a brain dump, and then I just come back and I'll read back through the outline / brain dump, and then just organize it again and again and again and again. And I think it really works. It really works for me personally, because I do the exact same thing like you said, Virginia, where like I'll think of something and there'll be like a cluster off on the side of the page of like 6 sentences. And it's really good, important 6 sentences. That's why I wrote it down as soon as it crossed my mind. But as far as like where it goes in the outline, it's nowhere near where it would, you know, it's written on page 2. And as far as technical outline, it would be page 6. And yeah, I treat my outlines as like, I'm not even sure what the actual term for it would be, but they're very tentative for me. I just keep redoing the outline, redoing the outline, redoing the outline. And
they're living, breathing, evolving.
Yes, constantly. And I think that's a legit method. That's what I tell myself when I try to explain it to people. And I'm like, I think that it works really well for me because with that method, anything that you get an idea, you can write it down as soon as you get it with as much or as little detail as you want. And it's not out of place until tomorrow. Tomorrow, when I come back to it and I redo it, then I can put it where it's supposed to be. And that works for me because everything, like I said, has as much or as little detail as I want. And they, you know, I might write about this idea for 4 or 5 sentences and then out of the blue have something related to it on like the next 2 or 3 pages. And I write that down too. And then just come back and reorganize it. Almost like reorganizing a to-do list or something like that. But I highly recommend it as far as...
Do you do your bullet point list before you start making, you know, like writing the story? Or do you have like the story like already developed in your head and then you start outlining it?
More the former than the latter. I write down ideas as they come to me, and then I put them in, you know, some semblance of an order to get the feel for the story. Yeah, and then I just keep adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. And I'm at the point now where, like, some of my bullets on my outline are like a whole page and a half of a whole scene where it came to me and I was like, okay, that's good. I'm going to write that down. So my outline is bullets along with like paragraphs, and sometimes it's just 2 or 3 sentences. Sometimes it's just a little bullet where I'm like, okay, this is actually a teaser for something that will be in the second book, you know, like in my next project, I guess you could say. And but I'm all for the bullet method, but I like it that way, as like a brain dump, and then you just reorder your bullets. And I find that every time I come back and reorder it, I have just sort of, by, you know, taking the time and just letting it sort of ruminate in my mind, my bullets get better and better and better. You know, it started out as a scene where I needed a confrontation between these two, you know, tertiary characters. And then it's like, no, okay, well, it might be a problem between these two tertiary characters, but it's not relevant unless I at least include this secondary character. So when I'm rewriting it, I'll rewrite the scene like, okay, well, this secondary character has this involvement with this conflict. And every time you rewrite it, it's like adding layers is what it does in my mind. The outlines, by coming back through and rewriting the outline, and by putting those random bullets in the order that they go, it's like stacking them, layering them for me. And I'm totally into it. I love to do it that way. I feel like I'm doing a really good job, to the point where I hear, you know, about those people who are pantsers, and they just are like, no, I just sit down and my jaw just drops. I'm like, really? Like, I start to, like, my fingers start to twitch, and I'm like, how do you do that? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. But I mean, I'm a plotter. I'm not a pantser. And I've, you know, talked to people about it, and I know that the people who are pantsers, my plotter method is just torture for them. They feel so, you know, stymied, or they feel like they're limited to what they have written, and it, you know, takes away the dimensions that they could put as they're going in, because that's a natural flow for them. Instead,
I'm more of a pantser. I'm constantly recreating it. That's why I do it like in the car or while I'm sleeping up in my mind, because I'm constantly rechanging and removing and, you know, reevaluating the thing, and then I do the outline.
Yeah. Are you one of those people who feel like the outline is kind of definitive? Like, if you put it in the outline, you feel like that's the way you have to do it, so now you have a limitation almost, and that's why you prefer it in your head?
I actually don't even consider the outline. The outline is more to keep me organized. So when I'm doing my dump from the entire scene that I have built in my head, and maybe that's why I have memory issues, because I've got like all this RAM space filled with just story stuff. So I'll dump the entire scene, dialogue and all, into my word processing program or onto paper, depending on what's, you know, situation I'm in. And I use the bullet points as more of a, it helps me get over the blank page syndrome. So when I'm staring at the screen going, words, I got to type words and I don't know what words to do, I'll go back to my bullet point list and recall those files from the back of my head and be like, okay, well, I need that scene because that scene's the one that we're working on now. So where are those files? And so I sort of use it as a guideline more than, you know, it's strict. When I first started doing outlining, I felt like it was very strict. It was very claustrophobic. You know, like once I put it down, I couldn't. It was like my creativity got stymied. Squashed. Yeah. But now I kind of had to like train my brain to go, look, just look at it as a template, as a almost like a to-do list. You know that it's there. It's like your chapter list, but
if it doesn't get done, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Kind of like what we do
if you decide to yeah. If you decide to skip this, this like I have another, here's another page that's been rewritten. I have, actually that wasn't the one. It was this one. Sorry. That was a character reference. But I'll start doing these little lists to fill up a scene or to outline a scene of what I need to happen. And, then I'll go back to it after I finished writing it and go, I didn't even pay attention to half of that, but it turned out better.
I think that's one of the main things. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I think that's one of the main things that it's kind of a reflection of how we like all the different ways that people are creative, like for you, like you're saying, like you've got all those files in your head and it's easier for you to keep working on them until you're ready to dump them out. And the bullets guide you for that. And for me, my creativity does kind of come in layers, like how I said, and, they come to me in little bits and pieces, and I can't, it used to annoy me until I got good at my outline method, where I would be thinking about this scene and this plot point and, how do I make sure that my audience knows the relevance of it? And then I'll think of something that's completely unrelated, but it's a great idea, and I'll have to write it down. And it's always interesting to me to see how people use outlining for their creative outlets. Like, like some people sketch an outline when they're going to draw a picture. Some people don't. They start with the eyes and then they build the face and then build the picture out. But some people do the shape and the form and then sketch the background. And I kind of think outlining is the writer's version of sketching before you draw. And it's always fun to me. Like I think you can see a lot about people's creative process that way. And I like that. I like that. It helps. I think it helps to remind people that, there's a million different ways to do it. It's different for everybody. Like Sky constantly says, it depends on what project she's doing. Like if she does know, okay, well, I'm going to have 8 chapters because these are the 8 big things. So you do it that way. And for me, it's little bits, little bits, little bits, little bits, little bits, hundreds of bullets. And I'm sorry, excuse me. And Virginia, you were saying, like you've got them in your mind and it's easier for you to ruminate on them until you're ready to dump them. And outlining, I think, is cool. I like to know people's outlining methods. I just do. It's just one of the things about writers that I like to know. So I'm kind of a nerd about it.
So you're both going to hate me because I actually have not been an outliner for that long. Like that's only been within the past couple of years. I was straight up pantser. Puck's Choice, the original version of Puck's Choice. It was in first person, not third person. And we discovered very quickly, I am not a good author for first person. I can't do it. Can't do it. But the other thing was, it was completely pants, and it showed. It showed so much. And it was actually when the editor passed it back to me and said, I can't deal with this. Like, I'd already self-edited it a couple of times, but she was like, I can't deal with this. You need to do 2 things. First of all, you need to outline this bitch. And second of all, you need to change it from first person to third person. And she didn't word it exactly like that, but that was the gist of what she said. And while it seemed harsh at the time, it was the best advice she ever gave me.
There you go.
Because I went back through and read it and outlined it as I was reading through it. And I was like, oh, I can see exactly what she's talking about. This doesn't make any sense at all.
You're like, oops.
And I was like, I can't believe I sent it to her like this. Oh my God, no. No, how did I do this? No wonder she sent it back to me.
Terrified of that. Terrified.
Yeah.
So
I only recently started outlining myself, and that was why. It was because my ideas were coming out of the file cabinet all mixed up and
out of order
because I
and
was
all
working
that
on
fun
it.
stuff. Yep. I understand that feeling completely.
I think I've
But
only
yeah,
been
I've done-
outlining for maybe
Yeah. Yeah. I've been only outlining a couple years. And like I said earlier, it's been a different process for every project. Like for one of the short stories I did for an anthology that has since been unpublished, it was only for like a year, but the contract was only for about a year. But for that project, I did the snow like a bubble map. I had the central title of the story in the middle, and then I had bubbles coming out from there, branching off from that main center bubble of events and stuff that were going to happen. And that's literally all I did for my outline for that story, was just that bubble map. And it was just because I was like, hey, we've invited you to do a short story in this anthology. Here's the main theme. Roll with it. If you want to join, send it to us by that date. And so I was literally sitting down at work one day during one of my breaks, and I just was like, I was drawing circles, and I was like, let me outline this story while I'm doing this. That's literally what I did.
That's awesome.
15 minutes, bubble map, done.
I don't want to rain on your parade or anything, but that sounds like absolute madness to me. The bubbles.
It was madness.
Like, you're making
it
my eyes
was madness.
over here. I'm like, bubbles, bubbles.
You can't
No
see
bubble.
me, but my eyes
bullet.
twitching.
You meant to say bullets. I got that. Caught that one late, but I got it. Yeah. You can't see me, but my eyes twitching. No. That sounds like madness to me. The bubbles, because no.
It was madness, but it worked for that short story.
I tried it one time.
That's the only story it's worked for. Like, I have not been able to do it since with any other project, but it worked for that one.
Yeah. I think I managed to do one time for I had a really complex cast in one of the books or one of my projects, and so I did the bubble map to show you how everyone connects to everyone, and with little explanations. But yeah, I did it, and then I was determined, and I put it away, and then I have never looked at it since, because that giant map of bubbles is just, no, it makes my brain tick 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 tick. There's just too many bubbles. I can't handle it. Madness.
Madness surrounds me.
But I think I just came up with a good segue so that we can get back to our original topic. I kind of feel like outlining is sort of parallel to setting goals in real life. Like in the story, you're outlining what's coming, and in real life, you know, we set our goals to outline what we expect to do and expect ourselves to accomplish.
Yeah.
And yeah. I came up with that, and I had to say it. I thought it was kind of nifty.
It actually goes back to the idea that Virginia was talking about earlier, that like you got your big A chapter title, your little a small plot detail, and all that fun jazz. That kind of outline is exactly what I do for my goals, basically, because I have my main 2018 goals list, and then I break them down. Like, now I was doing quarterly goals to break down those bigger goals, but now I'm doing the bi-monthly goals to break down those bigger goals. Because like one of my main goals for 2018 is to publish the Shifters and Mages series. That's one of my main goals. And so my goal for next month is to finish this draft of Mage's Sacrifice. So yes, I can see how it's an outline in the fact that you're breaking down those big goals to smaller goals, to possibly even smaller goals. Because like when I break it down further, I'm going to be like, I want to write this many words this week, kind of thing.
Yes. That also, I mentioned it before we went live.
Envy you because I've never gotten there.
That reminds me of, I mentioned it before we actually went live. Like, one of the main things that I've struggled with setting goals is I had to learn that there is a distinction between my goals and my to-do list. My to-do list is, you know, the actual specifics that I need to get done, whereas goals are, Virginia said, goals are more of like, they're looser and they're more of things that you're aiming at. And your to-do list is all those little steps, all the minutia that you have to get in line to point yourself in the right direction, at least. And personally, that's been a big problem for me. I think that's something that I just sort of learned this last year or so, that my to-do list is not my goals. It's something different. And so I hold myself more accountable than my goals. Because like how you said, Sky, you know, you'll put like 16 things on the list, and if you accomplish 8 or more, if you accomplish 50% of what you were aiming for, you know, high fives all around. You actually did something.
Yes.
So that's kind of how I view my goals too. Yes. And it's such a good feeling too. I'm realizing I don't want to place too much pressure on the list, because I do. One of you said it, you know, like I think it was you, Virginia. You said you see the list, and then when you see all the things that you didn't accomplish, you feel really crappy about it. You see it and you're like, man, I could have done that. I could have. If I had ABC, then I would have met that goal too. And so I'm trying to keep my goals very tentative. Like I'm saying, like, I'm just going to set the goal of recap all my writing projects. Just sit down and look at everything that I have for each project, and if that's all that I managed to do for that project, I met my goal. As long as I make it through all 5 of my main projects, then you know, that's good. That was that's something that I struggled with, and learning that my to-do list is the stuff like the housework, the things that nobody likes to do. That's my to-do list, the things that have to get done. and it big picture, you know, it does help you to get to those goals. You know, big picture, keeping the house cleaned up so that I'm not frustrated because I know that I should have taken care of this and I didn't clean this or I didn't do that. Because that's a big thing for me. If I know that I should have done something and then I didn't, and I know that like the fallout is happening because I didn't, I can't stop thinking about it. So doing things like, you know, and I get it, depending on how anxious or stressed out I am at the time, I can get worked up over ridiculous things. So there's no clean wash rags. So for the next day or two, whenever somebody takes a shower, they're just going to have to use the bar of soap, which is not the end of the world. But every time somebody will be like, okay, you know, you hear them walk down the hallway, you know they're about to go take a shower. All I can think is, I didn't do the towels. I didn't do the towels. I didn't do the towels. So, you know, like realizing that that's just my to-do list. That's just little things that I do it to get it done. And then I don't have to think about it while I do the other stuff, the writing stuff, stuff that I want to do, that I enjoy doing. It, like I said, like I'm 30 and I'm just starting to learn those adult lessons. Like I see people who are way more successful than me, and I'm like, you already learned that lesson, didn't you? You figured that out when you were 25. I'm 30. I'm just now catching on. So please tell me everything. Tell me your secrets.
I need an adult. You're an adult.
I know, right?
I need an adult.
And I'm the oldest one out of like all my friends. All my friends. I'm the oldest one. So, yeah, everybody's like, wow, you turned 30. And I'm like, no, I reached level 30. I'm not 30. I'm not an adult. Do not look at me like I'm supposed to have my life in order.
I'm some old lady.
No, I know, right?
Level up.
Level up. I leveled up to level 30.
You get adult things accomplished, and you're like, level up.
Yes. I saw this one, it was a photo book one time. It was on Pinterest probably. And this couple, I thought it was the cutest thing. They had gone through and they made these like, it was basically just like poster board, and they decorated it. But every time they had a major life achievement, they said, you know, like achievement unlocked, bought first property. And they would have like a little plastic key, right? And then they got married, and it's like achievement accomplished, you know, find life mate and all this stuff. And I thought it was the cutest thing because they did everything. Like they started out with big things, like, you know, they got married, they got engaged, and they started doing it, and then they had the married one. But then there was one where it was like husband remembered, it was like achievement unlocked or whatever. And then there was like a handwritten caption underneath it where it was like, husband remembered to put down toilet seat. It's just such a fun way to look at life, you know what I mean? To just be like, yes, achievement unlocked.
I love that idea. I am totally going to do that now.
I know. I
wanna do
totally
that.
thought of you and Justin. I was like, Sky and
We
Justin
would totally do that.
So do that. Yeah.
We would.
And I'm like, can you imagine how much poster board those people must have went through? Like,
I have a pack.
board.
I have a pack of poster board that was like 3 for $1 or 3 for $2 or something like that. I would totally do something like that, and I would go through so much poster board. Yes.
So much. It would be so much fun. You can totally do it.
When I start publishing, I'll be like, achievement unlocked.
Yes. Achievement unlocked. Met with lawyer.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what's going to happen.
You know, just to throw this out there, that would actually be a really fun way for you to keep your website updated on a regular basis. Achievement unlocked. You know, here's this progress thing. You could make little banners and PicMonkey and stuff.
Yes. Oh, I need to add this to my list of things to do.
Yeah, no, I'll write that down too. We can talk about it later.
Nice. Okay. Where's my list? I kept turning pages. Oh, shoot.
I'm just going to write achievement unlocked in big letters.
Speaking of lists and stuff, how do you guys keep up with your goals? I think it was before we actually went live. Amy, you mentioned Jenna Marassi. She keeps her list of goals on her phone, and I have a fancy dancy phone. I got one with a stylus, and so that I don't do it, but it would actually be a great idea for me to keep my list of stuff on my phone because I'm never without my phone. It might be dead, but I'm never without it. Instead, I'm using like a pad of paper that I keep my list in because I can have this out at work. Like my phone, I can't have that at work, but I can have this pad of paper out at work. But how do you guys keep up with your goals? What methods do you guys do to keep up with your goals?
I do the notepad system also, but I have one of those. It's basically just like a really thin little leather notebook, and the notepad slides into the back panel. You know, like you can't see it, but I'm holding it up to the camera. I have to figure out a way. But it's like a portfolio. I think they call them portfolios. But there's no binding. Yeah, there's no binding or anything in the middle. It looks like a folder on the outside, like a leather folder. And I write them on a legal pad, and it slides into the back panel, and then I've got a pocket on the side. And I keep my goals sheet. You know, like I still have my 18 for 18 goals, and I keep that and this week's spread on a little just one of those little paperclip things, and I clip them to the notebook, so that's the first thing I see when I open it. Okay. But that's how I do it. And week or every so often, I take all my old spreads and old notes and put them into my big 3-ring binder bullet journal. So like every time I sit down and recap, I move my old sheets into the bullet journal and then reassess my goals in the little black one. Because like this one is small enough. It's standard size. Like I see yours is like, looks like yours is what, like an 8x6 or something like that? Something like that. It's a memo pad. Yeah, mine is it's the same size as like printer paper and stuff like that. Standard size, 8.5 by 11. So it's not small, but it's also 6 by 9 bulky at all. 6 by 9. There you go. Yeah, that's what I'm using. Is this steno pad? I think it's backwards because we're on webcam, but I can see 6 by 9. Okay, as long as it's not backwards, because it looks backwards from what I'm viewing on the screen. I don't know what Greg ruled means, but whatever. But that's what I'm using right now. But I think eventually I will be switching to my phone. I just forget to. I don't like having so much stuff on my phone. Like, I remember there was a cell phone campaign. I think it might have been like Google based, and it was years ago. And they were like, your whole life on your phone, your calendars, your contacts, your social media, your whole life on your phone. And all I could think was that my whole life is in the hands of whoever gets their hands on my phone. Like,
Yeah.
having so much stuff on my phone. Like my phone it's for texting, talking to people, and games. Like, and I only use the Google Calendar for like you can rent movies at the library, but
Yes.
they're $1 per day fine if they're late. So I put the notify on my phone so that'll be there all day, so I'll remember. But that's like it. Everything else is handwritten for me in that portfolio notebook because it's small enough for me to carry it around. Like it fits in some of my purses. So that's how I do it.
I don't carry a purse. I just have my skull bag.
Yeah. I don't keep a whole lot on my phone either. I mean, I keep my my Google Calendar is typically for doctor's appointments, for my kids, for me, that sort of thing. There's a little notepad thing, like an app on my phone that I'll use to like write grocery lists, or if I do have a small to-do list, like, I must, check the mailbox today, or I must go visit the bank today. I might put a small to-do list on there. But as far as my goals go for my writing and that sort of thing, I kind of keep it all in my head.
Okay.
I don't really write it down because it feels too restrictive. And then that's another thing that I feel bad about not accomplishing. Yeah. So, I mean, but I do keep, I've got a binder. Like you said, it's a leather portfolio. It zips so it can keep all my mess in here. I keep my lists, for my bullet points and stuff. They're loose in my notebook. And then on the other side, I used to do legal pads, but then I had trouble finding them. So I actually just have a banana clip that I banana clipped loose leaf paper into. That way, if I want to throw out, a scene, or I don't actually have to like tear it out and move it somewhere, I can just kind of like take out the first few pages, and I've got like scenes that I no longer use, like tucked back here, just in case I want to use pieces from them or something like that. But it keeps all my writing into one place. So if I'm going to a doctor's appointment, or if I'm going on a trip and I don't want to bring my laptop, I still have all of my writing, all of my notes and bullet points all in one little neat package. So all I have to tell my kids is, hey, can you grab that, from across the house or whatever if I forgot it. And they know exactly what I'm talking about. They don't have to go, which 3-ring binder are you in now? Because it's all right there in that one package.
Bring me the writing folder notepad thing.
You know what I'm talking about. Go get it.
That thing there. Yes, that.
The thing mommy's always carrying around. Yeah, I forgot that. Can you go get it?
Oh, wait, here you go. Bring me mommy's purse. Oh, wait, you carry a purse. Never mind. You're not like me.
No, I carry around a purse. It's just heavy.
See, that won't work for you, because if I was doing something like that, I could actually say, "Bring me mommy's purse," since I don't carry a purse, and it would be my writing folder thingy that they're bringing me.
Oh, there you go.
Since you carry a purse, you can't say that, because they would actually bring you your purse, not the
bring me my purse,
black folder.
And my notebook can't fit in my purse.
I do have one other thing written down here that's actually goals related. Now that I see that it's already 11:35, guys. We've already been on here for an hour and a half.
We have.
That's fun though. So I like these live long streams. Like as an audience person, you get to sit down and like have breakfast. It's like watching a TV show. But
yeah.
I do have one last thing written down. I also try to do the smarter goals. Like it started out as SMART goals, and then I saw somebody that had the ER SMART. S is specific, M is measurable, A actionable, R realistic, T time bound, E, and the last two were extras. And it's E evaluate, and the second R is revisable. And when I found the ER version, that's when I was like, ooh, that's really good for me, because like how we were saying, I try to keep my goals loose. That revisable is a big step that I'm all over. Like, revising my goals. Okay, well, you know, that was how I was going to accomplish the goal then. Now I know that is not going to happen, so I can accomplish it like that. So that's like the only thing that I really do when I'm setting my goals is I do try to follow through with the smarter method, just because.
Smarter goals. I like that.
Yeah. Everybody had
I didn't remember what
revisable was how I saw it, but when I tried to look it up, I was trying to tell Sky about it yesterday, and I tried to just jump over to Pinterest and find a quick picture that I could just save to my phone and send to the convo so she could see it. Everybody had the last R as recorded, not revisable. And I was looking for the word revisable, so I didn't really look to see what their recorded. But I imagine it's just as simple as, you know, like keeping it somewhere where you see it all the time. I have recorded this goal. I am accountable for this goal. That's what I'm going for. So
you
that's
said
the
M
one
was
thing that I
manageable,
do.
right?
Measurable.
Measurable. Everyone has everything I'm finding says meaningful, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, no. I wish I could remember where I got this smarter thing from. Probably one of those crazy email people I was telling you about earlier. Probably that's where I got it from. But yeah, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time bound, and then evaluate and revise. Smart goals is, I know that's how it started. I think that's more for.
Oh, I found it.
Yeah, cool.
Second, I'll see if I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Time
Somehow.
manageable.
I'll have to figure out how, but
What was the E? I'm trying to add it into the chat.
Evaluate.
Evaluate.
Yeah, and the last R is revisable.
That's the one thing I have to remember is that I can make I can make my goals list, but I'm not specifically held to it. Like I can always, if I know something is not going to work out, I can always revise my goal. Like, so for May and June, I wanted to write 60,000 words. I wanted to get up to 60,000 words written on it. At any time especially like in May, because I knew it wasn't going to happen in May with my grandmother passing away and having to take that trip up to Montana and being gone for 2 weeks, I knew it was not going to happen. So I could have changed that goal and lowered my word count. And it's one of the things I have to keep reminding myself is that even though I set it as a goal, it can always be changed. It is revisable, just like your SMART goal says. Okay. So specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time manageable, evaluate, and revisable. Correct?
Time bound.
Time bound. Oh, crap.
Yeah, like deadlines, basically. Which I try to look at the deadlines as what I'm shooting for. And then as soon as I know, like you're saying, like something will happen and you know there is no way I'm going to accomplish that, that's when I go with the evaluate and revisable. I try to come back to it. And like I think it started out as SMART. And I think the SMART is how you develop the goal and, you know, outline it for yourself, really, you know, get it definitive so that you know exactly what you're aiming for. I think that the E and the R are more for maintenance and action. Like, you know, you keep the E and the R in mind as you're going towards your goal. I think that's what it was meant to be. Because I know SMART goals was a big thing for a long time. But then when I came across the SMART-er with the E and the R, I was like, oh, hey, yeah, that works for me. Because I understand the value of the SMART and the ER. And I've been doing that for maybe like 2 years. You know, I found it and I was like, okay, I've got it in my bullet journal. I've got like a little section in the front that's kind of like reference sort of. And I made it all cute on a fancy page and everything. But yeah, that's pretty much my only guideline when I set a goal.
Okay.
Yeah, the YouTube chat isn't letting me paste in a picture, so I'm not quite sure how to share this with anybody.
Give me a second. I can share it. I can put it in the chat. Is this? I think that's it. Let me double check this.
The first one is the picture. The second link I sent you is the actual website where the picture came from that describes it a bit more.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll just put that link in then, because if it has the picture already in it, it would be cool. There we go. Boom. Add links.
Yay!
There we go. Boom. Done.
This is completely unrelated, but I love that social media you can share stuff like that. Like, you can't share a picture, but you can share the link. I remember a decade ago trying to, before they did all this stuff, like now I can watch a video on YouTube and be like, oh yeah, this is awesome, and then share it, and it knows exactly what to do if I want to send it in a text message or in Messenger, or if I want to post it to Twitter. Like, I love that. I mean, I don't do it very often, but it makes me feel so like on top of things when I'm like, oh yeah, I just got to push like 3 buttons. I know exactly which buttons to push. So totally unrelated, but I'm not very computer orientated. And when I realized that social media figured all that out for you, I was like, yes, thank you. Because I am one of those people who I don't.
There used to be a way to insert
Like I was saying, I don't have somewhere. Yes. Where to go? Oh, but I'm constantly sharing things with people. Like Sky knows, because I'm doing it all the time in the group conversations. And it makes it so much easier. I very much appreciate whoever it was who came up with that. Deserves a high five.
High five. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I really have nothing else as far as goal stuff goes.
Nah.
I think we did pretty good, considering this is like I don't know. I know you guys know each other, but this is the first time. Yeah, this is the first time Virginia and I have met each other.
Yeah.
And Scott, considering we're 3 obviously talkative women coming together for the first time, I think we actually managed to stay on topic enough and say relevant things. I think we did good. I feel good about it.
This has been a good conversation. I like this. This has been fun.
I think so.
And as far as like how long Virginia and I have known each other, we've known each other many, many years. We met. Yeah. I think we met when you were working at a diner, and I don't remember what I was doing. I think I was writing some story stuff on a napkin, and you just happened to walk by and see it. I don't even think you were our waitress. I think you were waiting on another table, but you just happened to walk by and see. And you and I got in a conversation about writing and publishing. In fact, actually, it is thanks to Virginia I even thought about publishing at all, because I was just writing stories and posting them on Fiction Press, which is free to read. I hadn't even thought about publishing before then.
Mine published, so that's probably why.
So, yeah. Virginia's
Hey, it's been a long time. I feel old.
I don't even remember when that was. It was many years ago. Yeah. Hair in my mouth. Not nice. But, all right, guys. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Do you guys have anything you want to share before we go? Any promotional stuff, if you've got anything to promote? Virginia, you have an audiobook out now. That's exciting.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about it. I'm not forgetting about it, but it kind of gets tucked into the corner. The Alien Mind is out in audiobook as well as hardcover and paperback and ebook. And you can find those all through Amazon. The narrator did a really good job. I was really impressed with his work. There was a lot of characters that I didn't really have an idea for how I wanted them to sound. And when he spoke their voices the way he chose to, it was like, oh my gosh, that's the voice that I've been hearing in my head.
Nice.
It was really kind of creepy in a sense, but because I really didn't give him very many guidelines. And I was starting to work on the sequel to that book. And, you know, some of those characters that were just side characters in the first book, they kind of come back in the second book. And, you know, so I'm starting to hear some more of their voices now. And just when he started narrating them, I'm like, that person has been there.
That must
So
have been
it was
a
pretty cool.
crazy experience. Kind of out of body, I'm thinking, like, to have something that is
It's
so
like, who are you?
internal
How did
come
you
from a
get in my
stranger.
head?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know it would have
But all my links and stuff you can find on my website, which I believe Sky linked in the chat comments. So, and it's just Virginia Laurie.
In the description, I actually linked your website, your Twitter, and your Amazon
Oh wow,
page.
you went above and beyond then, yeah. I just normally send everybody to my website because VirginiaLaurieJennings.com is a lot easier than trying to remember all the / Amazon. Yeah.
Well, no, I added these things as I remembered them because I had your website before we started the stream, and then I had Alina made a comment in the chat about I need more. What did she say? Hold on, I'll read exactly what she said. Give me more links, more follow links, people. So I added your Twitter, and then just now I added your author page on Amazon. So I fail at this. I do it as I go.
I like it. I think I'm in for some future live streams. Maybe I'll have updates. I'm hoping that this will give me another measure of accountability that I've never had before. Like,
yeah,
you know, YouTube now knows what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think we'll plan for the next one. We'll do another live stream like this about goals at the end of August.
Okay.
And I'll look at my calendar and figure out what date we're going to do it. And we'll do, basically, this is how we'll start holding each other accountable. We'll come out here and say, I failed my goals, or, yay, I achieved my goals.
Hopefully a lot of the latter. Hopefully a lot of hoo-hoos.
Hopefully.
So that sounds like a plan. That's what we'll do. And then if we do, like, I'm still going to continue doing my live streams on Sundays. Most of the time they'll probably be write-ins, which I do 15-minute sprints. If you're new to this channel, I've been doing 15-minute sprints on my live streams on Sundays. This is the first one we've done as far as a goals one goes. But so most of them will be writing sprints, especially now with Camp NaNoWriMo. By the way, if you're watching this and you don't have a cabin and you want to join a cabin, go ahead and leave your create your project on Camp NaNoWriMo's website and send me your username, and I will add you to my cabin if you don't have a cabin and want to be in one. Because
and this is my first year actively participating, so
this is going to be fun. This is Amy's second Camp NaNoWriMo because she participated in April. It's Virginia's first Camp NaNoWriMo, and we won't talk about how many I've done. I think I've done 9.
That's why you're hosting the cabin, Sky.
And this is my first time hosting a cabin. We could go with that. I've always joined cabins. I've never hosted one. So that's fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see. And everyone's projects are, like, great. Like, everyone's working on a bunch of different things. So it's kind of awesome. I like it. We'll see how it goes. All right. So, Amy, do you have anything you want to say real quick before we kind of wrap this up and get off here?
No.
No?
I don't have any social media accounts. I think you said that in the chat. I don't, like I said, I mean, no, I don't. I tell people that I don't have them at all. The truth is, you know, like I said, I have them, but I have them so that I can look at them. I never share anything. I think it's been like 3 years since I've even posted anything on Facebook. So.
It's because you're
sorry,
nobody.
I don't have an author platform yet. Yeah, I'm nobody in particular. I don't have anything.
Well, after this stream, I'll talk to you about something. I had an idea for you, Amy, that I'll talk to you after we're off stream.
Okay.
That might help you in future live streams, actually. It's an idea. You'll like it. Maybe. We'll see. But that's all I have for you guys today. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you're new to this channel or just joining us, I'm Sky, right under the name SD Haggis, Urban Fantasy. And this has been our first video with goals, bi-monthly goals, and we'll be back at the end of August. I'll have a live stream put up soonish with information about that. Once I double check calendar dates and stuff like that. And if you want to be here for that one, go ahead and hit the notification button, or subscribe to my channel. I mean, you can hit the notification button if you want to, so you can find out more about that and be notified whenever we go live. And if you want to join our live stream, if you have bi-monthly goals as well and want to join our live stream, send me. I've got all my social media listed down below in the description box, so feel free to send me a message and be like, hey, can I join your live stream? And I'll be like, sure. So, but I think we're going to end that here, guys, and we will all see you next time in August, I guess. Maybe earlier if they join me again for write-in live streams. So anyways, that's all for today, guys. That would be cool. So that's all for today, guys. Everyone say bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.